I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you mention it, it does kind of make sense. Always wears a mask, compulsively washing hands. The letters of his name rearranged spell Corona, the official mascot of 2020. In today's video, we're going to use this little guy to teach ourselves something about the Bless Your Heart movement and their calls to defund the police. You see, by doing so, they have pretty much handed Donald Trump 4 more years. There's absolutely no way he loses now. Because no one wins the presidency without winning Florida. And here in Florida, the demographics are such that when you go after the police, you've pretty much just ended any chance you have of winning this state. Because so many people count on those security services here. Elderly people, businesses, tourists. There's absolutely no chance Donald Trump loses Florida. And on that same note, a lot of you have already taken advantage of this. There is a brand new statewide mask order, not here in Florida, but in Texas now. And I don't want to berate or demean the governor of Texas. I'm sure he made the best decision that he thought he could. Me being a resident of the state of Florida, it's not really my place to call into question the decisions of the leaders of Texas, because I'm in Florida. And that's what I've always tried to espouse, is that we should do what's good for our state and let other states do what's good for their states. Very, very proud of Governor DeSantis, but I'll put a link down in the first pinned comment. And by now, directly below this video, there should be a banner that has all of the t-shirts and all the different things, and this should be among those things. So, also, $1 of the proceeds of the sales of each mask goes to help not endangered animals, but animals at risk, like the ones in shelters, or the ones like have been hit on the side of the road. Teespring is helping to support those causes, $1 per mask. So another good reason to get yours. You see, there is a logic argument here that hasn't been taken all the way out to its natural end. And this idea of the Minneapolis government deciding that they want to just have private security be the front line of defense has a risk involved in it that BLM and all of these people haven't thought about. And I want to try to walk through that. We, in past videos, talked about how they want to take the money away from the police department and put it in all of these other things that is very provably not going to fix the problem anytime soon. And there's a couple of great articles. This was theadvocates.org that talks about this, and also the Federalist. I'll put those links down in the first pinned comment as well, and you can read these articles where basically they say this is really a disaster waiting to happen. You see, private security doesn't have to Mirandize you, nor do they have an interest in Mirandizing you. For those of you who are unaware, here in the United States, when an arrest is made, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, but the vast majority, if not all, of the police forces are required to, at that point, Mirandize anyone being arrested to let them know what their rights are. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand the rights I have just read to you? With these rights in mind, do you wish to speak to me? See, this is something that Americans have taken for granted. Private security does not have to Mirandize you, because they're not going to be involved in any criminal case against you. You see, they have an entirely different set of desires and values than the state, quote unquote, the state does. And let me see if I can walk you through an example to show you the difference that you would encounter. Let's say a couple of these BLM types were just tired of working for a living and they decided that they want to go knock over some kind of a strip mall business. It happens every night in America. So they go find some abandoned strip mall like this and they case it and they go up and down and they find one that has just a single girl working behind the counter. And they go in and they're getting ready to, of course, rob the place and do whatever it is that turns their crank for the evening. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out front and out back, 3 or 4 of these things roll up. No lights, no sirens. And 6 or 8 of these guys jump out. They're not cops. You see, the strip mall owner had the foresight to hire private security, Blackwater-like private security. You see, they had been watching those two case the place, and they had guys set, ready to go. As soon as they walked in that business, these guys were going to roll up. So they grab the two and toss them in the back of one of the vehicles, and they take them to some nondescript building somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, and don't worry about being tracked because your cell phones have all been placed in Faraday bags, so nobody knows where you are. Nobody has called the police. You're just now in the hands of private security. And they're going to leave you in a room like this for quite some time until you're willing to answer all of their questions without giving them any guff at all. And they're not going to necessarily want to know about the robbery or what your plans were, all this kind of thing. They're going to want to know about your friends. They're going to want to know about your family. They're going to want all of your logins to all of your social media. And oh, by the way, you will give them to them because, did I mention the cockroaches? Yeah, you see, they've left you in that room for 10 or 12 hours tied to that chair, and they've been crawling in and up and all over around in your person. And after a while, you would do or say anything to get out of that situation. Now, for those of you that are already typing, remember, they're not trying to gather information from you to help convict you in a court of law of armed robbery. They're absolutely not. I mean, maybe they might turn some of that information over to the sheriff's department. See, because they're only required to notify the sheriff that they have you. The sheriff doesn't have to necessarily come get you just because they know. So they continue to get all of your logins to your social media, all of your friends, all of their phone numbers, all of their addresses. Remember, it's private security. You don't have to be Mirandized, and you have no rights being held by private security. And for those of you who are already throwing a fit, saying, that's it, I'm going to sue him, I'm going to hire a lawyer, and you know what the lawyer's going to tell you to do? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is go file a police report. And this is going to be the look on the face of the guys when you walk in to file your police report, because during your attempted armed robbery, you were picked up by private security that didn't treat you nice. How's this working out for you, BLM? Seriously. You're adorable. And I mean that in as derisive a possible way as I can say it. You think you got it so bad? You think things here are so terrible? Oh, they could get so much worse. Because, you see, what I just described to you isn't some fantasy. This is how things work in a lot of places in South America. You go play stupid games, you're going to go win stupid prizes. Because this is how they handle it. And down there, they have jungles. really big jungles. They don't need abandoned buildings. They can just truck you out into the middle of nowhere and park your ass on the ground and leave you there for 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours. And you can go ahead and cry and whine and moan and piss about your civil rights. Guess who is in charge of helping you get satisfaction for the violation of your civil rights? These guys right in front of you, the ones you're demonizing. How's this big old pile of ice cream seeming now? You see, before you go marching or getting all emotionally involved in a situation based on anecdotal evidence that somebody shot with a smartphone a month or so ago, maybe think about things in a bigger perspective. There's absolutely zero chance now that the parentheses D recover from this. There's absolutely zero chance now of the parentheses D party winning Florida. And nobody gets the presidency without Florida. Mark my words. Or Arizona. You see, that was one of those other states that was kind of toss up. That's another big retirement state. Arizona is lost to the parentheses D. Florida, and my guess is more than likely Ohio for sure. The people in Michigan have had their gut full of Whitmer, so that's another one that could flip. It's over. This election right now is done. Absolutely done. Simply because of these three words. By a bunch of ignorant children that did not think things through down the road. And I will leave it there. Once again, Shalkek Nemron, I die free. This mask is why in November I'm voting Donald Trump 2020. Like, share, subscribe.